Oh, hey, man. It's the
Oh, hey,
SRG.
man.
Oh, that's my line. Oh, hey,
And
man.
I'm stealing it.
All right. And you can. You can. Joining the SRG BOSS for this very special post WrestleMania interview is Little Miss Fury. Looking awesome as
Hello.
always. A real life
Thank you.
superhero, might I add. I'm going to plug that. Besides the goth on screen personalities, despite flaying people online and Call of Duty and everything in between, this is a real life superhero, uh, registered nurse, saving lives in real life. So shout out to Miss Fury and everything she does for everybody.
Thank you.
We're going to talk a little bit about WrestleMania, which you got to experience firsthand.
I did. I was there in Dallas. And
Now,
oh boy, was it a ride.
and I can imagine that. Did you go to the Hall of Fame ceremony or anything?
Absolutely, I did. That's the only reason I went. I didn't go for WrestleMania. I went for Hall of Fame. WrestleMania was just a perk.
If you know anything about Miss Fury, she loves bats, The Undertaker, and Jeeps. So to miss out on this opportunity was something really special to get out to Texas for. I didn't catch much of the Hall of Fame. I was
Mhm.
always intrigued by it. At SRG Universe, we do our SRG Award show, and we've introduced the Hall of Fame, Master Osmosis Hall of Fame, over the past couple of years. Obviously, the WWE Hall of Fame is the inspiration for it. What was it like when you went there? Did it feel like a party? Did it feel like a show? Talk a little bit about what went down.
So the night, it was a mixture. So it was SmackDown, and then directly after SmackDown, they set up for Hall of Fame, and then Hall of Fame happened. So SmackDown, it actually was a terrible SmackDown. I'm going to be honest with you. There were like three matches, but the Hall of Fame itself, I don't want to say it was a party because for the most part, people were very respectful of like the speeches, everyone doing it. Um, it was so much fun, but yeah, I wouldn't say a party, kind of, to be honest with
Nobody
you.
got slapped.
I don't know, but the person next to me almost did.
Yeah,
He
I'm
hit me
sure.
twice, and I almost
Hit with
showed
the
the
little
Miss
Miss
Fury
Fury
side.
there coming out.
I
Uh,
almost did.
so I didn't know that actually that they film it in an arena, just like SmackDown. I guess they set up where the ring and the
Yes.
stage. Is that how they do that? I was picturing it was like in a catered event.
No, so it always has been in a stadium, but it only started two, maybe three years ago where they do it in the ring. They used to do it on the stage, and then where the floor seats are, that's where all of the wrestlers would sit. And then everywhere else, like the bleachers and everything, those would be fans. But about 3 years ago, they switched it up to put them in the ring.
I like that
So yeah,
setup.
I do too.
Now it's hard to talk about all the other things that went down at the Hall of Fame when something so monumentous as The Undertaker, retiring for real, what
Mhm.
seems. And then one of the few times you see Undertaker appear as Mark Calloway, right? He was not in the getup. He did not, he came out as himself.
Correct.
He gave a speech that, from what I heard, there was about a 6 minute interval of fans just cheering for him before he even had the opportunity to speak.
It felt so much longer than that. It's just like he couldn't talk because everyone just kept cheering, and then he would like go to speak, and then he'd start like tearing up, and then people would chant more. It was like a never ending thing.
He's
But yeah,
almost been holding that back for his whole career. It's very seldom
yeah.
that you get to see him as Mark Calloway and not the Undertaker. And this was where he really peeled back kayfabe almost 100% for this sort of speech. And it must have really moved him to see people reacting in such a positive way. For people to cheer for you in general is amazing. People to cheer
Mhm.
for you for that duration really shows how much they wanted to show that they appreciate this guy. He might be the
Mhm.
best ever. A lot of people
Well,
like
you know
body
my
of
view
work.
on that.
A body of work. People want to say other folks, but I don't think anybody will ever have the draw power and the mystique of the Undertaker.
No, never. You're never
Ever.
gonna get that again.
Just the fact the guy sits up, the crowd goes crazy. He doesn't even have to do a
Hmm.
full match. So, uh, did you cry during the speech at all?
I don't know how my lashes stayed on. I was bawling. My mom started tearing up, and my mom hates wrestling. She hates it. And even she started tearing up, and like I don't know how my lashes stayed on. I was a mess. It was okay. It was fun.
Nice. And then, so you guys stayed out in Texas,
Yes.
and then next day starts WrestleMania, and it's a whole lot of wrestling.
Oh my God. Yeah. So the Hall of Fame and SmackDown were Friday. And then Saturday, I actually went to WrestleCon.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's how I started my day because I was determined to meet Danhausen.
Very nice. Very evil. Yeah.
Yes, very nice, very evil. He's great in person, by the way. So that's the sole reason I went. And I was gonna meet Britt Baker, Adam Cole, but they were 2 hours late. And I'm just like, I'm
Late.
too tired. Yeah. We were waiting in line. I was like the fifth in line, but at some point I'm just like, I'm not gonna stand here anymore. I'll get over it.
Hmm.
So we go back to the hotel, we eat, and then it's time for WrestleMania. And
What
then
time you guys get in for WrestleMania?
7, it started at 7 Central. So we got in about 6 because we wanted to explore the stadium, to be honest with you. I didn't burn when I walked in. I'm surprised. I thought I was going to burn walking into AT&T Stadium.
Yeah. Did you
But
bring any Packers gear with you? Big Packers fan from Miss Fury.
of course I did.
There were some
I
real great memes
needed
where it was
something to keep
like,
you from burning.
Roman Reigns brings the championship to, AT&T Stadium
Yeah.
for the first time. Those memes are real funny.
Yeah.
So for me, WrestleMania this year, and they're doing some cleaning of Grand Machine Studios. You might hear it. It might sound like I'm being infested by bees, but it's not that. They're just cleaning the studio outside. WrestleMania for me, day one and day two, I'm going to lump them both together. I loved it. And there are a lot of critics that saying that it was trash, which is, I think, the vast minority. You know, from what I watched, I was working on some new Super Show stuff. I was in a Zoom room with some friends, and I enjoyed almost all of it. From start to finish. They gave us so much stuff. Like, what was the crowd like? What stood out to you? What are your favorite moments here?
Oh my God. So the crowd was insane. And I've been to a lot of wrestling events, but I've never been to a WrestleMania. It is so different. And I don't know if it's just the sheer size and like the just capacity of fans, but like it was like you never got like a quiet moment. You never did. And you have people singing along to the songs. Like obviously everyone sings along to Seth Rollins. That's like a known thing. But when Pat McAfee came out, it was like even louder than what Seth's was.
So funny story about that. I think Pat McAfee's a bona fide star. He doesn't even feel like a celebrity guest anymore. I mean, he's so athletic. He's so good on the mic. He's amazing on commentary. He comes out with the White Stripes, Seven Nation Army, and pre-Super Show and SRG BOSS. There was the Fantasy Wrestling Online eFeds where it was Cousin Stevie, the Family Doctor, and his entrance music was this, White Stripes, which is like I always felt one of the most epic entrance musics for that reason, to get people to come around with the beat. And when Pat McAfee came out, it really was awesome to me, because that was always like, there was a point in my time where when I had that fantasy wrestling show up, that would be your theme music. And I had even like pitched to people when we started doing custom music, I want something White Stripes, Seven Nation Army-esque for us to develop. So seeing him come out and the crowd like responding to it, because it's a pretty epic song, that song gets you really hyped up.
It does. And people sing along to it. You don't have to like barely any words. You just sing to the beat.
And they kept the beat going like during the match too, which was so much fun.
Oh, even afterwards, you might not have been able to like hear it on the camera. Oh, people were still going.
Yeah, no, it was absolutely awesome. And that was night 2, right? So that was your standout. You think Pat McAfee? That had to be night 2.
Yes, that was night 2. Because
Stone Cold came back.
Yeah, DCC came out beginning of night 1, and they came out night 2 for him. I follow the DCC. It's the only thing Dallas Cowboys I love. And when I got to see them in person as well.
That was dope. So they did, you're right. The cheerleaders did double duty. They kicked off the show, and they were with Pat McAfee, which is a dope flex as like an Indiana.
That was such a good entrance. Yeah. And when he punted the ball.
Oh, the punt was awesome. And then that's what I'm saying. Like Pat brings like that it factor. He's incredible. He was an awesome punter. If you've seen the highlight videos of him, he was a physical punter. He's great on his podcasting show. He's had some pretty legendary guests, none as legendary as Little Miss Fury here on Why Wrestling, but he's had some dope guests lined up. The punt like just popped you, as it was a sick punt. And imagine being the guy to catch the ball. Like it was such a nice touch.
I'm so upset it didn't come near me. Oh, yeah. I would have fought someone for that.
Where was your seats?
So we were on the floor. We were 8th row.
Oh, nice. Is that hard for you being like 5'2"?
I couldn't see anything.
Yeah,
Steve.
it's tough. It's
And
tough.
like 8th row, you would think you'd be able. I couldn't, just because there were giraffes in front of me.
So I am totally off topic, but we do that here at White Wrestling. I had just recently purchased tickets for Machine Gun Kelly in Madison Square Garden, which I'm super pumped. I'm a big
That's
Machine
gonna
Gun
be
Kelly fan.
good.
And I had the option to get floor seats. And I'm going to be a bad parent. I don't care. I'm taking my 8-year-old with me. All right. She sings along to the edited versions. I think she's going to have the
What's
time of
wrong
her
with
life.
that?
I think it's going to be pretty epic. My wife, my 8-year-old are coming. But we had the opportunity to get floor seats, which I wanted to do. And I feel like it's so hard because you're going to be visually compromised. She's going to be standing on a chair. People are going to be pissed off, and then you have like the floor and then the pit, which she's too young to go to a pit, And
I was
it's
in a
just
pit when I was 6. She'll be
6?
fine. I was
All
6
right,
in the
that's
pit.
good. That
My
makes
first
me feel
Hollywood
better.
Undead concert. I was in the pit when I was 6 years old.
That makes me feel awesome because I feel like you turned out pretty dope. And, like
I'm still here. I survived it.
Give people a little character, growing
Yeah.
up. And I'm like, they're going to hear a lot of words that you shouldn't repeat at school tomorrow. Okay. The versions of the song you hear are not what he's going to be singing when you get there. So, but back on track, you got floor seats, which is great because you get the energy. You're so close to the action, but sometimes it's real hard to see, especially somebody of your size. No disrespect, but it seems like a little tough.
Builds character. Yeah. But they have so many screens. So like I was able to watch the screen. And then when everyone would stand up for entrances, I personally was just like, I don't care. I stood on my chair.
Yeah.
Especially for Roman. Oh, Roman, I don't care if I got yelled at. And I got yelled at. I was just like, they can still see over me while I'm on a chair.
On a chair, I'm the same as
You're
a 6-foot
fine.
person, right? Like,
almost.
Yeah.
I'm 4'11", so.
So watching Mania, again, I'm going to reiterate, I loved it. I thought it was a super fun ride. Hearing that it was great in person was awesome. You spoke about live entrances. I love Boogs and Nakamura. I don't know if that's a normal thing where he comes out playing the guitar because I usually don't watch the main shows, but that was epic for me as a big music fan. Like, the guy's super talented. Shamey got hurt for real, but that was just awesome to see.
Yeah, but he does that every week.
Does he every week? That's probably maybe part of the reason why they paired them together. I don't know, or if it was coincidence. That'd be interesting to see. But night one, night two,
but that's been a thing.
McAfee, obviously the big thing from night one was, well, it's not even, you can't even say obvious at this point. You had Cody Rhodes and Stone Cold on one night. No, Cody Rhodes was night 2. It was just also awesome. Cody Rhodes was night 2. No, Rhodes was night 1 because it was set. It's all like one big thing.
Rhodes was night 1. Yeah.
Well, Rhodes was night 1. What was that like? Because I enjoy Cody Rhodes as a performer. Yeah. I've had some issues with him, some issues revolving work and things that we were supposed to do together that didn't pan out. So sometimes I have some mixed feelings about Cody. He was one of the nicest people I ever met in person. He was one of the nicest people when we worked with him with Duck the Clothesline at House of Glory. In the meetings we had on the Cruise of Jericho, I thought he was awesome. So I definitely wish that guy all the best. And for me as a fan, I don't know about you, I had doubts. WWE lets you down from time to time that it wouldn't be Cody. So I was like,
more than time to time.
Yeah, like I was like, I'm not even gonna say it's Cody because if Shane McMahon comes out, and I love Shane, I would have just been so let down. But the crowd was like cheering for him before he even came out. And when that wrestling has more than one royal family, like people seem to really explode on that. What was that like? Were you shocked? Were you ready for it?
I feel like everyone kind of knew. Everyone knew. There were the rumors that he signed, and then Seth of all people didn't have a booked match. So I kind of knew it was Cody, but like, when the music started playing and it just said The American Nightmare, I watched it back on TV afterwards. Oh, it was so much louder. I feel like they had to turn it down. It was so much louder, that pop he got. It was insane.
I actually went back and watched the match for a second time too, and there's been very few matches that I've seen and wanted to watch back right away. The one that stands out to me that I watched multiple times was Money in the Bank, CM Punk versus John Cena in Chicago when he left with the belt. Like that was one where everyone was done, I went home and rewatched it. But the Seth
Mhm.
Cody match was another one. But the big one too,
Mhm.
maybe even I don't know, is it bigger than Cody coming back with all the AEW drama? Stone Cold Steve Austin returns to in-ring. And I think they
Of
did a
course,
really
that's
bigger.
bigger.
Okay.
What do you mean?
Yeah, one night. I
It's
think
Stone
WWE did an awesome job of not
Cold.
saying it was an official match. I think they let it build up, let the match happen. You know, is he going to actually
You know.
wrestle? I thought that was so dope. And Kevin Owens is real good. So bigger pop,
Mhm.
Stone Cold.
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's in his home state as well, and it's Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Um, that was an experience. That had my mom on her chair because my mom was a Stone Cold fan back in the day. He's the only one that she would watch. So that was insane. That was definitely a bigger pop. That was probably the biggest pop of the weekend. But just in general, like it was really cool. Like he hasn't wrestled in 19 years, and there I am, 23 years old, being able to actually see him
4 years old. You
wrestle.
know
Like
what? Like
that was
Chris Guardino, the co-host here at Why Wrestling, said it was a 19-year stat. And for me, knocking on 34, I was like, there's
mhm.
no way it's almost been 20 years. Like, it's not possible. Something's not adding up. And like when it checked out, it was just a mind-blowing stat because the guy was so influential that it feels
Yeah.
like it was yesterday, you know? And like, you want to talk about Hulk Hogan and some of the other legends, that feels like it was an eternity ago. And Stone Cold, it's
Yeah.
20 years is insane. And
I
then he
would say
comes,
it'd be different with him because he still would make regular appearances, unlike Hulk. I think
yeah.
that might help with the whole you feel like it's more recent. That's just my opinion.
Hulk in his he's at a cool sports bar and karaoke bar out in Florida. My brother-in-law was just there recently. Hulk was there. So that's where he's making his appearances lately.
Yeah.
But you picked a good
Yeah.
WrestleMania to go to. You got retirement speech from the Hall of Fame from Undertaker. That alone is an iconic moment. Now you're going to throw more iconic moments. Triple H hanging up his boots. Cody Rhodes returning to
Yep.
WWE. Stone Cold having a match. And then witnessing the worst Stone Cold Stunner in history. I don't know if you were able to see that from your seat up against Vince McMahon.
Vince has been getting stunnered for how many years now? How many years? He should know how to do it
You would
right.
think it would be a pro at this
Like,
point, right? The kick came
right?
in.
He literally.
He wobbled a little, and it was like, oh, they missed it. Nope, he has a chance to get it back. Oh no, he didn't. He didn't get it back at all. And a lot of
No, he
people were
did.
like,
He couldn't. He couldn't
Vince shouldn't have been
recover
there, and
from it.
he's too old. And I'm like, are you kidding me? This is Vincent fucking McMahon. You know, let him do it while he still can. It wasn't pretty, it wasn't great, but like, how are you gonna bring back Stone Cold Steve Austin to WrestleMania and not give him the opportunity to Stone Cold Stunner Vince McMahon one more time? Like,
Yeah,
those are the
you
most
got.
epic feuds of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of
That was
course,
also weird seeing McMahon in person.
yeah, he's in good shape. Let the
Oh,
haters say anything. I mean, he looks way better than most people at what is he, 76? I don't know if we still have the fact checks in
yeah.
the budget, but now that we've gone independent, we got a fact check on that. All right, so now let's get to the main event, probably for you. Undertaker's not there. The head of the table, the big dog, Roman Reigns, shows up.
My tribal chief.
The tribal chief is here up against Brock Lesnar.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people really, going back to Vince, people really crapped on Vince. You're forcing Roman down her throat. And the more I think about it, the more I think Vince is just a genius because everybody wants to say Roman sucked and now he's the best thing in wrestling ever. And it's like that was probably all part of Vince's plan, the long game for a while. And he's absolutely killing it. What was it like when he came out? Was the crowd, because I feel like the crowd is behind him.
The crowd was behind him. I mean, you had people obviously yelling for Lesnar. You have almost 80,000 people. It's got to be mixed, but a lot more cheers for Roman than I actually anticipated.
Yeah, so he
because
did
like
get
on TV they feed you like all the booze, but yeah,
no, it
I
was,
really didn't hear any booze for him.
and now the match, it was riding on what I thought was also a great WrestleMania. We skipped over it, but I loved the Jackass match. I didn't think I
It
would.
was so
I thought it was so
Funny.
funny and just
Oh,
well
it was so
done. And
funny.
yeah, and the crowd was super into it, what makes it dope. Um, I love that. Now you get to this main event, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, billed as the biggest match of all time. Listen, that was an oversell. I love both of those guys. It's a huge oversell. How do you feel the match delivered for the main event? I think it kind of went where it was supposed to go. What were your thoughts on the match overall?
So it started out really strong. I definitely enjoy, I mean, I enjoyed it. I'll enjoy anything Roman does. I'm very biased when it comes to that, so I'm just giving everyone a heads up with that. But it was very good until the injury happened, and you can tell it got rushed.
I heard mixed
So
things on the injury. It was popped out. It wasn't. It was part of the storyline. I don't know anything confirmed,
no,
but it
you could
seemed
see
like it
it.
was pretty
You could
legit.
see
Yeah.
it.
Because I don't think the
I
ending
looked
of
at
that
it
match was one
and
spear. I
no,
could see that.
no. And you have to take in different factors as well. It ended early. WrestleMania, of all things, doesn't end early, and it ended like 15 minutes early. And then I went back and I looked at the footage, and being a nurse, it's very obvious it was popped and it was discolored.
Yes, that
And
was
then
one of
when
the
he went
pictures
to
I
hold
seen.
up both belts, he was very hesitant.
Yeah, it looked like it was dislocated. As a nurse, you probably have a better sense of that.
Yeah.
But it looked like it was pretty legitimate on the
I don't
submission
know if it
and
was
the bar.
completely, yeah. Yeah, I don't know if it was completely
But
popped out, because
regardless,
if it
there
was
was some
popped
sort of
out,
injury there,
you'd be screaming who you
from your
are.
opinion. Yeah.
There was an injury. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And the
again,
signs
it
point
ended
to
early. And we all know Vince doesn't want to end anything early.
no, not with 80
But
video
yeah, so.
packages that they could shove over and over again. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
As a casual fan, you need to be reminded who Bobby Lashley is, who Sasha Banks is. If you've never seen anything, you want to know what's going on. But there were a ton of video packages. Is that helpful when you're there live, you think? It breaks it up, or what side are you on?
No, it's so boring. It's so boring. Because I'll get at like a pay-per-view, like say, like sorry, a premium live event, now that they're called that. That I don't mind prior to the matches. It's like the every week shows. Like SmackDown. Remember how I said SmackDown was terrible because it was 3 matches? It's because it was all video packages. We're here. We know what's going on. We're here for a reason. But during like a pay-per-view prior to a match, I don't mind it. Because that's also when they have to change the ring mat out. Like you need to kill time with it. You have to think of it from a logical standpoint, from the live perspective. After every match, they change the mat out. So it's a clean, fresh mat. You need to put something on TV, like for people at home watching, to kill that time.
Yeah, and
But
then no
it's during
commercial
like
breaks,
a
right? It's almost
SmackDown or a
yeah.
Raw. Yeah.
I
It
didn't
has to
know it'd
make
be
up
a
for the
commercial
commercials
break.
as well.
Yeah. I mean,
Yep.
I love it when it's a good hype video. The Roman Brock hype video was really good. If you missed like everything wrestling between the two of them, they did a really dope job. I mean, from wrecking the cars and the fights and the battles. So that before a match, I feel like gets you amped up if you didn't know what was going on. But it's a good point, and I feel like one of the things we kind of bring up all the time is it's a necessary evil, right? There's no commercial break. They're doing things to ensure the safety of the performers. They want to make sure the ropes are tight. They want to make sure that the blood, sweat, and tears are pulled from the mat, so it's a clean performing. And you need to put something in those slots. So it definitely makes a ton of sense why they would do that. All right, Miss Fury, before we wrap it up, anything else you want to talk about from your experience at WrestleMania? Would you do it again? Would you recommend it? The whole weekend is a nice trip. What do you think?
I am doing it again. I'll be at SoFi Stadium next year. So
wow.
I'm going to WrestleMania 39 next year.
That's in Hollywood, right? Hollywood? Do you think we're going to see Roman hold the title?
God, I hope so.
Everybody keeps saying Roman and The Rock.
I really hope so. I'm never going to say no to that, though. So,
yeah, I mean, people will be like, oh, how are you going to bring back The Rock? I mean, they're legitimately related. The Rock transcended as a wrestler, becoming the highest paid actor of all time. And his little cousin, baby cousin Roman over here, has become the biggest star in WWE in a very long time, probably since The Rock. You know, we've had some other big names, Randy Orton, but like the torch has been passed. Edge, AJ Styles showed up. Taker.
Yeah.
I'd say that this legitimately could feel like a family battle over who's the head of the table, who's the big dog, and that's why I think it's going to be pretty great. Regardless, and The Rock looks insane. His fitness, Roman Reigns is in the best shape of his life. Hard to think the guy beat leukemia a few years back. I think it'd be a legitimate, awesome battle. A great story with the Usos and everybody involved. So I think it'd be a dope payoff.
Yeah, that would be good. I think another one that a lot of people are saying, and I don't know, so there's two options that could also happen besides The Rock, is either one, if the injury that we talked about is legitimate and bad enough, he might have to vacate, which keeps him strong because he wasn't pinned. He didn't get that option. So that still keeps him at the top. So that is an option. Another one that I've seen a lot of people saying is if WWE books it right, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I think Cody could be fantastic. From what I understand, they had a very complex contract, and who knows if it's involving other people, right? And I know they're playing different angles. MJF seems really real with his unhappiness with his contract. Now, I know MJF was signed very early. I don't know what MJF makes. I know some of what the other guys made that were signed along the same time. It was like NXT money, which is still good money as a wrestling performer, but MJF sees himself as a star. So they're starting to do these crossovers. But how dope would it be if we had anybody signed in now where Cody goes to fight Roman and he's the one that took the title, and another jump from AEW comes in and either prevents him or helps him. So I could see it being really big for WWE. I could also see Cody winning, but I don't know if Cody wins right away. Like, part of the charm of his story is he's fighting for his father, which, I'm sure the feeling as anybody who looks up at their father as a hero. The payoff as a performer is he's got to really overcome a lot of stuff for it to be special as a viewer. If he comes in and beats Roman right away, I don't think it's going to have the impact. I think he needs that uphill battle. But yeah, Roman, Rock, Roman, Cody.
But that also makes it's a year. Yeah. But that also is like a year journey.
That's
as
true.
Well.
If it was,
but that's also if he keeps it and if he's not hurt.
Yeah, I just don't give me Roman Brock again. Brock is fantastic, but let's put that to rest.
Oh,
I don't want to see Rock, John Cena, never before, never again, except for next year when we do it twice. So I don't want to see that. And nothing against Brock as a performer, but I feel like Roman and Brock have been doing it for 3 straight years right now. All right, Miss Fury.
It makes sense. It's big enough.
For people who are not familiar with your streams and everything that you do, where can they find more information on Miss Fury?
You can find me on, actually, they're all the same. So Instagram, Twitter, Twitch.tv, everything is at Little Miss Fury. And little is spelled out, which Steve hates doing.
Little?
Little.
Little. Yeah, it's a tongue twister.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, you always put LIL like I'm a rapper or something.
You know what? I actually
that's what
always put LIL for real. Now that you point that out.
I know, and I yell at you every time.
I'll get it one day. Shout out to the Harm City Hitman who've been yelling at me for mispronouncing his name for a month. All right. Thanks for joining us for this real quick episode of Call It in the Ring for Why Wrestling. This is Little Miss Fury, looking amazing as always. And thank you for making some time in between killing folks in the video games and saving folks in real life. Bye, man.